Hi guys, Jurassic Junkie here, and my entire body hurts. Welcome to the Friday Night Rant. So yes, as I said last week, that I have gained weight and I need to stop that, and I've decided to start going to the gym, and now my body hurts in every single way, and I've got to go to the gym in a few hours as well, which is absolutely awesome. But it does mean one thing, and I'm just going to cut straight to the chase, and that is the drink of the week, and it is going to be non-alcoholic. It's going to be a cup of tea, a lovely cup of tea. So yes, here's some mango retard's tea. I'm not even going to have any milk, no sugars, no nothing, all very nice. Hot is the best way to describe that. You know, that's hotter than I thought. But very nice, very hot though. So yes, sadly, I can't have any alcohol at the moment, but it don't matter, because the point still stands that I'm going to hit you with facts and figures. So, the main thing I want to talk about is CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Association, and they've been doing the expo this week, actually in Vegas, where everyone goes to show off the brand new tech and just loads of glorious nerd porn. So, what has happened is obviously, I didn't expect to find much gaming stuff. To be fair, I thought it was going to be lots of TVs, lots of flashy stuff, but obviously gaming does come down to hardware, and obviously there was a lot of hardware at CES, so there is actually a fair bit of gaming news that has actually been shown off there. So, I'm going to start it all off with Valve. Now, last week I was talking about saying, oh, the Xbox/PlayStation might actually stop second-hand games, therefore I will want to go for a Valve box, or Valve box is a rumour, blah, blah, blah. Now it's actually come through saying, no, it's not a rumour, and we actually got to see some of the hardware at CES. Now, first of all, the actual piece of hardware is not being made by Valve. It's being made by a company called XI3 Corporations. And what they do is they make super tiny, nice, sexy little PCs. So Valve has said, obviously, we want to have a powerful machine in a tiny little box, and they've gone, cool, we'll make it. So obviously, everything is all subjected to be changed at any point. But this is what we know at the moment. The Steam box has a name of the name of Piston, which I actually think is quite cool. Steam, Valve, Piston, I like it. So the first thing that we actually know is we're going to get a quad core up to 1 terabyte of space, and the motherboard is going to be modular. Now, first of all, what modular actually means is, for instance, when I've got my PC, if it says this PC can only have up to 4 gigabytes of memory, if I want to go to 8 gigabytes of memory, I will need to replace my motherboard. But sadly, I would have to replace the entire motherboard. Even if the CPU side of the motherboard is pretty cool and I don't need to upgrade it, it doesn't matter. The old motherboard's got to get out, scrap it, to put a new one in. Now, the idea behind modular motherboards simply means that the motherboard is in smaller pieces. So therefore, if you want to upgrade the memory, and therefore the memory part of the motherboard needs to be upgraded for high capacity, you take that modular part of the motherboard and replace it and keep all the other modular parts intact, which is absolutely amazing, because the thing is, obviously, it will probably drive costs down of actually upgrading your computer. Awesome. And on top of it, it just means there's less waste. But this is obviously also amazing, because the fact is they want to squeeze all this stuff into a tiny little box, which I'll throw some photos up now. And the idea is, because it's modular, it does mean we can actually upgrade these boxes once purchased. So what we'll be getting on top of that is 4 USB ports, which are just the standard ones, and on top of it, 4 of the super duper 3.0 USB ports. Also on top of that, we're getting 4 to 8 gig of DDR3 RAM, and it's actually said to be shipping on Linux. Now, this is the interesting part. For it to be shipped on Linux, therefore, the actual games need to be Linux compatible, and a lot of them are being converted. There is like a beta Linux section on Steam at the moment where you can go on and see some games. They tend to be a bit more expensive, probably because of the cost of actually getting them converted, but I would assume prices will drop over time. But they're also talking about all the games that are actually going to get converted, and to be fair, if they're actually talking about the Steam box being pushed with Linux, therefore everything needs to be converted across. So it sounds like they're going to go through their entire catalogue of stuff and get it converted, which is a big job, but to be fair, it's Valve and I have full faith in them doing so. The other reason to not actually go with Windows is for 2 reasons. One, if they actually put Windows on the actual Steam box, therefore they have to pay a licensing to Microsoft, which will actually put the price up, but by putting it on Linux, it keeps the price down. And on top of it, they've actually been doing tests with Steam. And what they did is they actually made a super duper powerful PC, which is probably well out of spec than what we're used to. But the point stands, they made this PC, they put Windows on it, and then they put Steam on it, and actually checked how many frames per second the games run at. Now, first of all, the games ran at 270 frames per second, which is amazing in the first place. But so that's how fast it actually ran on the Windows side of things. Then they chucked old Linux on there and says, let's see how fast this baby can go. And they clocked in a massive 6 That's it, just 6 frames per second. And it was like, wait a minute, this is wrong. Why are we getting 6? And it was one of them, there's your problem moment. So a bit of tweaking there. And then I managed to just go straight through to 315 frames per second. So with the same actual hardware spec, it actually runs a lot better on Linux than it does Windows. So another reason to make the actual Steam box run on Linux. Now on top of that, there's words that says that this box will not be locked down. It is yours to do what you will. So if you want and you don't want Linux, you can chuck Windows straight in there. Not a problem at all. So I love the idea that they're actually saying this is your box. You're buying it. You do what you want with it. Now, some time ago, I was actually talking about that Valve was contemplating doing some Kinect-style kind of control system, and I didn't want them to go with it because, to be fair, I just don't want that. They actually said they're going to be looking at 2 additional things on top of way to control your game. One of them is biometrics, and the idea behind that is the actual controller itself will be touching your fingers and it will be reading how you feel, your blood pressure, and all the different things that can actually work out how you feel at that moment. Now, I think this is a pretty damn cool idea because the one main reason I don't like Kinect is when I play a game, I want to be submerged, I want to be in the game. I just want to kick back and not actually have to flail my arms around and make me realise that I'm not in a game and I'm just waving. Now, the idea of having these little receptors in the controller that can actually touch your fingers means that you haven't got to do anything. You just carry on playing and it's reading from you all the time. Now, this is quite cool because if you're actually playing a game where there's actually something in there that makes you scared, it will be able to detect if your fear peaks and then from that do different things. Now, it could mean they could be really evil, and if you actually get scared, they start throwing more scary stuff at you, or it just means that obviously if you get really scared, they might tone it down a little. So either way, I think this is a very cool feature. So on top of this as well, they've got a thing called gaze tracking. Now, gaze tracking is designed to actually look where your pupils are looking at a time, so it will understand where you're looking on the screen. I've not read much into exactly what the plan to do with this, but I could only assume it will be simple things that when you're talking to a character, if a character's moving and your pupil's obviously following it, it will know that you're actually following that character and make that character probably react a bit with you. Now, this is something that I'm not actually really excited about, but the idea of it, the actual controller detecting my fear levels is absolutely awesome. So, that's the Steam box. It looks like it's happening, which is absolutely cool because Nintendo have kind of had the limelight last year with actually saying, look, the Wii U's coming, and now that's out. I feel like they're going to be releasing lots of games and stuff like that at E3, but I always felt like this year is the year for Microsoft and Sony because obviously it looks like them two are going to release the consoles. Now, Valve chucking this Steam box in there I think is awesome because for one, competition is great, it makes people perform better, and on top of it, I just like the idea of more competition and more things to pick from. So, right, before we go on any more, let me have a little wet. That mango's lovely. So, moving on to Microsoft. Now, this is another thing that I kind of said many videos back that Microsoft are going to try and do some augmented reality where they just project loads of stuff around the room, and it's happened. And it goes by the name of IllumiRoom. And what I'll do is I'll chuck a little video up now so you get a little taste to see exactly what it is. Now, the idea behind this is there's going to be some form of projector which I assume will be mounted to your roof. This is just me guessing and speculating, but at one point it's going to be somewhere in your room and it will project onto the wall that you're playing. Now, the idea is that obviously you play your game and that will be within the screen, and this extends your screen further. Now, I kind of in 2 things about this. First of all, the actual video shows, one, the actual area that you're looking at being extended, which is kind of cool, and they've actually also shown it taking the image of what's around you and projecting it back and then making it vibrate, which I think is an absolutely cool feature when you actually look at it. Is it pointless? Yeah, kinda. Now, I'm in 2 minds about this. Now, one, I want to play with it so bad because it's cool. I love the idea of brand new technology. Like when Kinect first came out, I wanted it because, come on, just doing that without a controller was very cool. But that time has passed and I'm not bothered about my Kinect now. But I feel like this is probably going to happen again. IllumiRoom is going to come out and I'm like, you know what, I want that just because I just want to go and just do some magical stuff. But I know within a day or 2 I'll probably get bored of it, but I still want it right now. On top of it, a few people have been saying, well, if you've got a projector, what's the point of having it project around your TV? Why don't you just move the TV and just have a projector? Well, the thing is, obviously, when we're playing games, we're probably going to be running them at 1080p. This projector is not going to be able to replace a 1080p square as well as extending all the way across your wall. So it's only going to do a half-ass job, especially that it's going to be cheap enough for mass consumer consumption. So, yeah, it's not going to be an ace projector, but it's kind of cool. So I am looking forward to E3 coming around so Microsoft can show off exactly what this can do instead of just giving us this little trailer. And on top of all this, Nvidia have now come out and actually said they want to do some gaming stuff. Aside from obviously they support the actual graphics chips and all the magical stuff, they have now released a controller. Now this controller goes by the name of Project Shield. Now the idea behind it is the controller is practically like an Xbox rip-off, and then actually plugged onto the top of it will be a screen. But the actual screen is 1280 by 720 HD 294 DPI retinal multi-touch display. So it's one of them things crammed inside a controller. On top of that, it's in a clamshell design, so it can actually just be shut and put in your pocket and you don't worry about scratching. It's actually going to be featuring one of the Tegra 4 chips, which is actually 6 times faster than Tegra 3 chip. And you may be asking, well, what's the point behind it? Well, the idea is it's going to be fully running Android. So therefore, if you sign in with your Google account, you'll be able to pull down all your great Android apps, which I think is kind of cool because I like playing games on a phone, but I kind of just go, it's just there to pass the time. Or while I'm taking a shit. Wow, I said it. That's where I play my games. So on one hand, it's quite nice that obviously you'll be able to instantly pull down all those games that you've already originally purchased for Android. You'll be able to play them again with a super duper chip and a very nice screen with your fingers and your hands and your controller. But to me, that wasn't enough. I was like, come on, NVIDIA, give me a real reason to buy this product. And they've said something which is very cool. Now, the idea behind this is if you're inside your house, and for me, I want to play Steam on my TV, but my Steam PC is right here, and my TV is all the way downstairs. Now, people say, well, you could build another PC, you could extend a cable, blah, 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 blah. It's too much, I can't be arsed. But the idea behind this controller would solve my problem. The idea is I turn the PC on, the PC is wireless, and I have Steam. It would then send my Steam games wirelessly across my house, and my controller will pick it up. And then I can play my Steam games on the controller. But that's not it. You also have a HDMI port at the front which will then connect into your TV. So therefore, if you turn your PC on and you've got Steam running, you can kick back, let the controller pick up the PC signal, and it will put it onto your lovely 50-inch, and you can have Steam there with the controller. And a lot of people have actually read into this more than I care to talk about on the camera, but I've also read about it saying that you need to have an NVIDIA chipset inside the computer before people start bashing and go, well, it don't work with everything. Well, I know it don't work with everything. But the point stands, that's a very nice piece of technology going on there. So, would I buy it? Probably not, because the Steam box is coming out. So if I really want Steam that bad, I'll probably just buy a Steam box, because to be fair, a clamshell kind of implies that it might go out with you, and I don't want to carry more things. Like, I don't really carry the Vita when I go out. I've just got my phone to play them silly little games, and the Vita's there for if I actually know I'm going to go to Joe's mum's and I might be there for hours and I just need to kick back and play on something. That's what a handheld's for, so I don't think I'd ever get this device, but it's still very nice to see. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, there's still tons of great CES stuff, but the next thing I want to talk about is the Oculus Rift. Now, I spoke about this many months ago, where it was first on Kickstarter, and the idea that somebody says, obviously, 3D's out, and we want to have some 3D goggles, and it's so expensive, no one's done it right, and we want to do it right. So they actually put the pledge out there on Kickstarter, and loads of people funded it. It got millions, and every so often it pokes its face up on the internet saying, look, this has been changed, or this, or we've got these people backing us now. So with CES here now, a lot of people have actually got the chance to get their hands on the Oculus Rift. Now, it's not actually looking like the pictures are that I've just shown, but what it actually does look like is lots of duct tape and circuit board all strapped together. But that don't put me off at all. It don't make me go, God, they're a long way from production. I have full faith in this company. Now, the reason I'm so excited for the Oculus Rift is I do not really enjoy 3D. Now, I don't really like the 3D on the 3DS, I just turn that off, I just find it a gimmick. And I've also not been blown away by 3D TVs. Now, I don't own a 3D TV, but tomorrow morning I'm getting a brand new TV which is 3D ready. And I spent a lot of time looking on the internet to try and find a TV that wasn't 3D ready, simply because it would bring the price down, because I'm paying for something in the TV that I don't want to use. I don't want to sit there with twat glasses on going, God, it's 3D. I'm not bothered about it at all. So 3D movies, 3D this, I'm just not bothered about 3D. Now, people will say, well, 3D makes you submerged into it. No, it fucking don't. All it does is just bring something near to you. Now, I could get on board with 3D if I could actually feel like I was in the game. So the idea behind the Oculus Rift is obviously going to be mounted to you. So when you do that, the game does the same. And that to me is actually being submerged into a game. So I actually love the idea of 3D in the Oculus, because I want to have it on my face. I want to be able to walk around, have a controller, and just forget that I'm playing a game and just feel so submerged in it being real. Now, the cool thing is when they actually launched, they said it was ready to go on the Unreal Engine. Therefore, so most of the games that have been made out of Unreal Engine will be compatible with the Oculus Rift, which is a good start. Now, to top it off, they've actually said that the following games are now compatible: Mirror's Edge, Skyrim, Half-Life 2, Portal 2, Left 4 Dead 2, and Dear Esther. Now, these are some amazing games that if I brought the Oculus Rift, I know I'll end up replaying all the games just to experience it again. I'll play Half-Life 2 again just to experience it. I wouldn't say in 3D, but I'll call it submerged D, because it's not just the idea of things popping out at you, it's the idea of you just doing that around the environment and actually going, wow, I am controlling everything. And on top of it, Mirror's fucking Edge. Now, Mirror's Edge made me feel sick when I was actually playing it just on a standard TV, so let alone playing it through Oculus Rift. It's just going to be amazing. I really want to play it just for Mirror's Edge. Now, on top of it, you're going to be getting loads more games. You're going to be getting Skyrim, and the idea is Skyrim, I've said in the past, I'm not a massive fan of Skyrim, but I love the idea that if I'm actually walking around and I can just, as I'm fighting, go, oh, is there something behind me? Is there a dragon above me? And just control everything like that. I'm really excited for it. So I do believe that I'll actually purchase the Oculus Rift when it comes out. Now, nothing's been said exactly what the price is going to be. At the moment, it's $300 for the development kit. So how much it's going to be when it's actually all done, God knows. But I can't wait to actually try it. And on top of it, everyone at CES actually used it when it is unbelievable. Now, they've tried goggles, they've experienced different things, they've done 3D on TVs, and everyone's like, yeah, that's good, that's good. But when they try the Oculus Rift, everyone says it is amazing and you will not believe it. So, lots of hardware information then. So, CES has been amazing. We've got loads of information from it. It looks like there's some great technology out there. Before I go on to the question of the week, I'm just going to give you a nice piece of Grand Theft Auto screenshot goodness. Rockstar released the following images: jets, submersible vehicles, mysterious looking men, dogs riding shotgun, and sharks. So yes, I'm very excited to get the idea of sharks in Grand Theft Auto. I think it's just because I've come straight from Far Cry 3 and I'm loving the idea of shark, water, man being eaten. So to chuck that in Grand Theft Auto, it's absolutely awesome. So for the question of the week, what thing are you most looking forward to in 2013? Now, this thing could be a game, this thing could be a console, this thing could be a peripheral. It can be anything you want, but obviously within the gaming world. But what is that thing you're most looking forward to in now 2013? Now, I've kind of torn between two now. One, the game-wise I'm most excited for has to be the Watch Dogs. That game just looks amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And on the other hand, I don't know if I should be excited or not for the consoles because we don't know exactly if they're going to stop us getting second-hand games yet. To be fair, I don't think they will, but it still could happen. But I'm going to have to say the thing I am looking forward to the most and most excited about is the Oculus Rift. I really, really want this. So that's it, guys. I hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to kick back. I would normally say the word gaming, but if I did, it would just be a sheer lie because I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to come back, get a little bath going on, and then sit there and play with pieces of cardboard. So I'll explain more in a future video, but tonight I've got to make a stop animation kind of thing. And once that's done, I'll explain exactly why I did that. But I shall leave that there. So fingers crossed you guys will actually get some gaming done. And I'm going to leave you now with clinking you with a cup of tea. Cheers, guys. Bye.